It's 9 p.m. Good evening and welcome along to Business Today. I'm Jerome Paul Sunko with Winnie Buyinza Nakauti for the sign language interpretation. First, a look at our top stories. In the headlines tonight, shake-up for Islamic banking. Government considers realigning facility with tax regime. And also, KFDA, CNOC intensifies drilling. $1.8 billion out of $7 billion sector contracts awarded to Ugandans. Elsewhere, unveiling Africa's industrial powerhouse, industrialization hinges upon collaborative efforts of various stakeholders. There's a shake-up for Islamic banking as the Parliament Committee of Finance is expected to table the tax amendment bills, among which is the value-added tax, income tax amendment, excise duty tax, among others, with aspects of the Islamic financing. Stakeholders have urged the committee to introduce Islamic financing as a separate measure, since integrating it with the nation's current taxes may generate confusion.
Last week, the Speaker of Parliament gave 1 week to the Committee of Finance to synchronize the Islamic banking or financing into the new tax bills that were passed in March of this year. The new tax bills, which include Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2023, Income Tax Amendment Bill 2023, among others, are supposed to be affected next month. Cephas Birungi, a member of Uganda Law Society, urges that government should reconsider incorporating Islamic banking into the recently updated tax laws before all stakeholders have had a chance to review them in detail. He claims that Islamic banking interprets both taxes and religion, making it impossible to integrate it under Uganda's tax regulations.
The whole idea that in Sharia law you are not imposing interest. Financial institutions are basically earning interest. So, for you to recharacterize a transaction in tax terms, you must apply very solid Sharia principles. So, you see a likely appeal system which is actually going beyond tax, almost to religion. I think in this parliament you have had challenges of implementing Sharia law as law per domestic law, family law. Now you are going to have this extended into taxation.
Cephas says Islamic banking would only be successful if it's brought as a standalone bill, just like the insurance bill or the oil and gas bill, because it follows the Sharia principles which are not in the conventional taxes Uganda has.
My proposal is that you have accepted the principles of Islamic banking and are ready, maybe the country is ready to take them on, have a regime, but 3 things according to me. 1, the time which we have been availed to consult all the stakeholders, the readiness of the UIA. Of course, we may not talk about their readiness, they could always say they are ready, but thirdly, I would strongly recommend that the whole tax regime be a standalone to avoid confusion. So even if these amendments were accepted in principle, generally, the law should be a separate regime. So you have stamp duty for Islamic banking, income tax for Islamic banking, VAT for Islamic banking.
The chairperson of the committee, on the other hand, has informed the witness that the economy needs money, and as a committee they need a middle ground because they have to present the amendments to Parliament tomorrow and time is of the essence.
Remember, this is juxtaposed with the fact that the economy needs refinancing with reasonable finance cost, the money cost. And most of the business and players in the private sector are looking at Islamic financing as another source that will help them to revamp. So it is against this background that we think it would be prudent. Now, having been faced with that and what you've just said, what would be the middle ground? So that, and indeed, like you've been told, we need to submit tomorrow so that we can give our observations and maybe give it time that later there could be amendments.
Legislators contend that despite the benefits of Islamic banking for the nation, more time must be provided to all stakeholders to thoroughly comprehend it, and the committee was not given enough time to produce a more thorough report.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Cephas, basing on what I've heard from our colleague who is a technical person from Uganda Law Society.
Thank you, Chair. And I thank the presenter for the submissions. Chair, all these bills actually.
I want to agree with our presenter, though. It will still be difficult to incorporate Islamic financial business to the original income tax. I think in a way, we'll have to separate these things because the principle within financial Islamic business is interest, whereby these two people share. Because in a way, you see, when I read Islamic banking, the interest is not visible.
The committee is expected to table a report on the above tax amendments tomorrow, but questions around whether the tax reforms are possible to facilitate the Islamic financing are still on every Ugandan's mind. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We now talk oil and gas as drilling activity intensifies at the Kingfisher development area with data acquisition underway. The host communities in Chikuba district, just like Bulisa, have welcomed oil-borne transformation from infrastructure and agricultural advancements to improved housing and increased job opportunities. Bunyoro is at the start of potential socio-economic transformation. We have details in this report.
Sinok Uganda Limited, the developer of the Kingfisher oil project, has ramped up its drilling efforts ahead of its first oil production in 2025. Following the spudding ceremony in January, drilling operations were undertaken with China Oilfield Services Limited as the primary contractor. Proskovia Nakazinga, the reservoir engineer at Petroleum Authority of Uganda, confirms that drilling at Well Pad 2 is underway primarily for data acquisition using wireline technology. This data will refine the reservoir models and inform decisions.
Drilling has commenced on Pad 2, where currently for one well, they've actually reached the target, the total depth, which is the final depth of the well. So these reservoirs for this particular pad are 3 to 4 kilometers. And somebody asked a question on the lateral offset of the wells from the lake, which is about 6 kilometers. So right now this well is drilled in three phases, and this is to help you manage the stability of the well at each phase. The initial phase, which is the initial phase where we normally have, we use water-based mud. This is to help you stabilize the hole and to help you not contaminate the water aquifers that we have closer to the surface. And then given the nature of the formation that we have, given that we have a bit of sandy, a bit of clays in the well, we're now using synthetic-based mud to help us be able to smoothly drill. So at this stage right now, they're doing data acquisition using wireline for these particular wells because they're highly deviated.
Sinok Uganda's Ambrose Ogwang informs that with timely 24-hour operations, progress is on track, and once completed, the project will be handed over to the production team.
So what we are drilling now for is to access the oil. After all this is done, we shall hand over to the production team. We shall drill complete, hand over to the production team, and we'll produce the oil. So we are confident that we have the oil. We've actually drilled one well to the TD, that is the target depth where the oil is, and we can confirm that yes, it's able to drill up to 8,000 meters below the ground, that is 8 kilometers. We are drilling, our reservoirs lie between 2,800 to the deepest is 7,000 meters, that is 7 kilometers below the ground. So this drilling rig can reach the deepest reservoir and still have a wind of 1 kilometer. as a contingency.
Uganda's oil and gas sector has progressed from exploration part of the upstream to the current development phase, with focus on achieving the first oil in 2025. Sarah Banange emphasizes that downstream and upstream projects are running simultaneously, dependent on acquisition of funds, with a refinery project, a highly anticipated downstream component currently underway.
Because you need to take the oil out. So you cannot have a refinery idle. So we will first have to test this. It comes out, it moves through the pipeline, and then the refinery is just a year or 1.5 years behind it when you've really tested the ground. So overall, timelines, work programs, we are in sync.
Biodiversity is a highly debated factor in the oil and gas sector. Unlike the Tilenga project, where the community is spread out, Kingfisher features a closely knit community located along the shores of Lake Albert. This has raised questions about the coexistence amidst the intensifying industrial activity.
In case there is any grievance, we have different grievance consultation groups or associations. So it's in different steps. You start at the lower level to the high level. So that is why SINOC, we've managed our grievance, and that is also one of the coexistence mechanisms with the communities. Then another thing, when we took SINOC acquired its land where the project would be. But of course, when it was acquiring the land, it put into perspective cultural heritage. People do not want to really be spread out. People want to maintain their cultural norms and social existence. So this was taken into perspective. So you find that much as people have moved, much as people have been relocated, they're still living around the same area. So that has also helped us a lot to work with the community.
On the socio-economic ripple effect, the project has made a significant impact on the local community. The chairperson of Songa A village reflects on the change brought about by the construction of a new access road that has reduced travel time and distance to neighboring Hoima from 2 hours to a mere 25 kilometers.
We couldn't have an access road to access from here up to Hoima or from Chikube for the better treatment when we have our women who are pregnant. We couldn't afford to carry them. We used to carry them on in our local language they call belega. You carry him as if a dead person to take him to the hospital. So per now, if someone is sick, I think here we use in terms of transport, it's easy. We just take him. You come back when she is pregnant. She make a bus that you come back with her. So on the side of education, has a Sinoka company has tried a lot by supporting our children, taking them, giving them sponsor. Like so far in our Buhuka here, Buhuka Paris, we have like 65 children who have been taken to educate for welding.
More social amenities, such as access to treated safe water, has still been implemented, averting the potential occurrence of cholera cases which were previously on the rise. A gravity water project benefiting over 13,000 individuals through installation of 46 water taps in the area has been availed. As the project progresses tending towards the maiden year of oil, numerous developments beyond oil roads are anticipated. Sector contracts have been amounted to $7 billion, with Ugandans receiving a share of $1.8 billion. Rona Nahabwe, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now we look at River Nyamwamba ahead of month. The members of parliament from Kasese region have appealed to government to find a long-term solution for the banks of River Nyamwamba, which keep bursting every now and then. The floods have come at such time when their people are still recovering from the gruesome attacks of the ADF rebels, which messed up with the smooth running of business in the part of the country.
For years, the banks of River Nyamwamba have had a tendency of bursting and claiming many lives, as well as property of the people of Kasese and the neighboring districts. This usually happens in the months of August and October. However, with climate change, this time the river has flooded in June, which is still early.
A young man who was riding me on a border said Kasese is a crisis area. And indeed, you can see recently we had a poor harvest. The sunshine was too much. we had a poor harvest, so people are hungry. Now you have the ADF attack, and the rivers are flooding in an unexpected period. These rivers flood usually in May or October, but they are now flooding in June when we expected sunshine. So we in Kasese, we are living crisis after crisis.
Parliamentarians from that area believe that since government is aware of the river floods annually, it should find a long-term solution. These have asked Ministry of Works to hire better contractors who are familiar with the river and avoid using inferior materials for the project.
Today, they will continue to flood tomorrow, and it will happen the other day. We need a long-term plan on how to manage the desilting of these rivers. River Nyamwamba, River Mubuku, River Nyamgasani, River Taku, and other small rivers. They all flood almost at the same time. When you want an excavator to desilt the river, it's not there. We need a resident system, not depending on a system. You are running to Port Portal, you're running to Mbarara to have these problems fixed. Of course, when the rivers flood, when there is war, businesses are disrupted. Like this attack by ADF last week is just at the heart of the market that the president launched last year.
People in Kasese are now living in both fear of river floods and the rebel attacks, which has disrupted the business activities at a time when many homesteads are dealing with poverty. The MPs have come out and asked government through the Office of Prime Minister to intervene and save the situation.
As you are seeing the economy right now, the economy is not doing well. Now when we are affected by the issues of insecurity, then issues of flooding, coupled with the poverty, the situation is not normal. The situation is not okay. People are really all the time worried. So my appeal would be that the designers, because always government has always put money in ensuring that they curb the problem of River Nyamwamba. Time and again, every year, year in and out, government puts in a lot of money to ensure that they work on bridges, to ensure that they put gabions on River Nyamwamba, but as if the work that is being done is shoddy. They do shoddy work. And how I wish they could involve the stakeholders, all stakeholders on the ground, to get some bit of advice. And also the companies, as if the companies which are being used to work on gabions, to work on bridges, as if these companies do not have technical know-how. They do not have the capacity to do some standard work. Because I was seeing the size of the gabions, as if what they built is too narrow, that it can prevent water.
The legislators have also appealed to locals to start planting bamboo trees coupled with other good farming methods like terracing, which help to reduce the speed of water when the rains come.
Bamboo is well known for, one, it forms a canopy. And when water comes, that green canopy breaks the speed of the rains from up. But also on the ground, because the bamboo roots hold the soils tight, the issue of soil erosion is also reduced. So we need to engage our communities, for example, those living around the valley, to plant bamboos.
On the 16th of this month, the ADF rebels created havoc when they attacked a school in Kasese district and killed over 42 students, and a week that followed, the banks of River Nyamwamba burst, disrupting business in Kasese and the surrounding areas. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We now turn our focus on the value for accounting. Accountancy is growing as a vital profession in Uganda's economy. And when you look at Uganda's changing economic landscape, accounting officers have played a crucial role in boosting Uganda's revenue base through collaboration with the Uganda Revenue Authority by ensuring compliance with tax regulations and meticulously keeping financial records. However, the country has around 3,500 accountants compared to 20,000 in Kenya, indicating a shortfall. Naomi Mutumba reports.
I declare the accounting technician's diploma results of the May 2023 examinations date officially released. Thank you very much.
The Accountants Act, enacted by government, empowers the Institute of Certified Accountants of Uganda with authority to regulate the practice of accountancy throughout the nation. Furthermore, this plays a pivotal role in assisting businesses in preparing their tax returns. With a thorough understanding of tax laws, accounting principles, and financial reporting requirements, certified accountants guide businesses through the complex process of tax return preparation. By providing guidance, reviewing financial records, and ensuring compliance, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda helps businesses fulfill their tax obligations accurately and efficiently.
When you go into the specifics of the laws governing revenue collection in Uganda, the Tax Procedures Code Act, the Income Tax Act, the accountants are part of the members who are registered as tax agents. They actually help the taxpayers in preparing their tax returns, and we also go ahead and advise the taxpayers on compliance matters. So we actually partner with the Uganda Revenue Authority because we are members of the Tax Practitioners Council.
As a nation, if we are to develop, we need as many accountants as possible, but also look out for those who call themselves accountants and they are not, and alert us, because we want to make sure that we clean up and we're able to engage and help each entity to develop financial muscle. That way, collectively as a country, we'll be able to develop our economy.
Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development set a target of 25.5 trillion shillings for URA for the 2022-2023 financial year, but only 25.1 trillion shillings was raised. While some months and areas recorded surplus, there was an accumulated shortfall of 151.18 billion shillings. However, a glimmer of hope emerges as accountants join forces with URA to bring about positive change. Through their expertise and coordination, these aim to bolster revenue collection and bridge the gap between targets and actual collections.
We need to work closer than we've ever done before. We have access to the taxpayers. URA also has access to the taxpayers. So what we are going to do is to actually increase our collaboration with the Uganda Revenue Authority, because the ultimate aim is to help URA to get their taxpayers compliant. And we do that by advising the taxpayers. So it is going to be the main job we are going to be doing together with Uganda Revenue Authority.
The EAC region has been striving to deepen its trade bonds and foster closer economic integration. However, a concerning disparity in the number of accountants between Uganda and Kenya is hindering progress in this regard. With Uganda producing over 3,500 accountants compared to Kenya's staggering figure of over 20,000, this deficit raises concerns about the potential impact on trade relations and economic cooperation within the EAC region.
3,500 accountants available in the country. But I just wanted to say and to confirm, like what he said, we are not doing nothing or very badly. I just want to give context. Kenya, for example, has over 20,000 members of accountants, registered accountants. ISPAC, yes. The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya started in 1972 and started examining in 1978. In Uganda, we started in 1992 and only started examining accountants in 1997. If you compare, you see, yes, we have some way to go, but as the President confirmed, we are firmly on that journey.
As bestowed upon me as the President of the Institute, I declare the Certified Public Accountants examinations results for the May 2023 diet officially released. Thank you.
It is on this note that the Institute of Public Accountants of Uganda has released the results of May 2023 diet examination, marking a significant increase in the number of candidates compared to the previous December 2022 exams. With over 6,067 candidates, representing a remarkable increment of 14.9%, the May 2023 exams showcased a notable surge in participation. Furthermore, the results also revealed a higher representation of females at 54.9% compared to males at 45.1%.
The May 2023 examinations are the first set of examinations for this calendar. We shall have 3 examinations diets in May, August, and November. We are pleased to inform you that we conducted a computer-based examination for the final paper on CPA integration of knowledge. This is an important development in enhancing the quality of accountants being produced.
As Uganda's economy continues to grow and diversify, the role of accountants becomes even more crucial. With their expertise in financial management, risk assessment, and strategic planning, these professionals are propelling businesses forward and contributing to the country's overall prosperity. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Well, after the break, we return with more Business Today. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda.
Family. He must have a maid because at our home we do not work.
Conductor Masao.
Owa, obadde olobye ku ssimu.
Yamunange anti yo TV enkolera.
Nyumirwa omulembe omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kwotadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya GOTV channels ku ssimu yo olwo onyumirwe ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kukozesa data.
GOTV channels.
Saving or securing for the future does not only mean investing in stocks, real estates, or companies, but there are so many chances of becoming a billionaire through practicing agriculture. You don't need a very big plot of land or large capital to start, but slowly by slowly you can build an empire. Uganda's economy is made up of agriculture, services, and industry sectors. But agriculture comes out as the backbone of Uganda, employing 70% of the population and contributing half of the country's exports and earnings. Agriculture being the main supplier of raw materials for several companies, and it's readily marketed both in urban and rural areas. There are so many chances of the next billionaires coming from agriculture. From the farmers to the processors, from the processors to the traders, and from the traders to the final consumers. We shall be taking you through the whole agriculture chain. My name is Chris Chitaka Haman, and this is Farm Smart, showing every Friday 7 to 8 p.m. only on Smart 24 TV, driving business.
Smart 24, driving business.
We'll be back, and we now talk matters rapid industrialization. FEM Consultants and Research Center Limited, together with various stakeholders, have unveiled the rapid industrialization model that aims to establish a robust industrial base in Uganda and across the entire African continent. This is focused on fostering a conducive environment for investment. Bronia Katusime has details.
According to World Bank 2020, manufacturing sector contributed 8.4% of Uganda's GDP, employed around 7.8% of the labor force, and made up roughly 3.3% of all exports in terms of value. African countries that are members of United Nations are bound by 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which includes SDG 9, Industry, Innovation and Technology, which places an emphasis on developing resilient infrastructure and fostering inclusive and sustainable industrialization. However, in order to achieve these global goals, current techniques fall short, leaving a gap that the rapid industrialization model aims to fill.
Economies of scale, we have a few industries, and these industries are scattered. So it would mean that they don't enjoy the benefits of complementary services, where one industry, for example, leverages the opportunity of one which has maybe trucks for transporting commodities, then one which has raw materials. That is now about economies of scale. Then two, Uganda as a country, we still have a human resource deficit. You find that the human resource we have, most of them are not technical. So, and in this model we are emphasizing there must be focused human resource.
So whatever industry you're producing, they will not come up unless if they have the money. But they are producing for self-consumption. So by putting these kids in school, you'll be solving the problem of a growing poor population. Two, increase production. I think this is what the PDM is trying to do. Increase production in this country by applying science to it. I'm now 60+ years old. In my village, in my home, I grew up, they were using a hoe. Today they still use a hoe. You can never transform agriculture. You can never increase production by not changing the implement, the basic implement of production.
Cooperation of many stakeholders is essential to success of industrialization. First off, through policy changes and investment incentives, government is instrumental in fostering an environment that is favorable for industrial expansion. Local and private entrepreneurs have also risen to occasion, introducing innovation and new business endeavors where companies have formed in industries including technology, renewable energy, and agribusiness, promoting economic diversification and job creation.
So if you have an investment like Kampala Jinja proposed expressway and you are going to do road tolling, can we see people who are property owners, instead of government going out to borrow and give money out through compensations, let these people be mobilized and we have them as shareholders in that kind of road tolling.
Whatever measures we are undertaking in Uganda are also guided by the 6 flagships across our industrialization strategy. And these are to foster successful industrial policies. In this regard, we are working with the government of Uganda to catalyze funding in infrastructure and industry projects, grow liquid and effective capital markets, promote and drive enterprise development, promote strategic partnerships, and lastly, develop efficient industry clusters. These activities are not taking place at the same time, but they are taking place over the period of the existence of the country strategy paper for Uganda.
Government is committed to sustaining values of sustainability and environmental awareness as we set out on this journey towards fast industrialization. The model incorporates eco-friendly technologies, fosters energy efficiency, and promotes environmentally friendly behaviors in an effort to reduce carbon footprint and protect natural resources for future generations. Bernia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now let's talk e-mobility. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation has acknowledged the underfunding challenge that has inhibited the arrival of Kira Motors' full implementation. Budget cuts in the upcoming financial year are highly expected to further down the country's change towards affordable, decongested mass mobility as the enterprise awaits full mass production. We have details.
The energy shift and local automobile industry are certainly on course despite challenges such as funding for research, innovation, plus technology transfer. Kira Motors, Uganda's automobile enterprise, is currently in the second phase of implementing local automobile manufacture premised on e-mobility. Amidst budget cuts for the upcoming financial year, with 20 billion shillings dedicated for the project to inspire long-term mass production, anticipation to capture the local and African market is still unwavered.
We were allocated 247 billion, and these funds have been used to really move the sector. However, this coming financial year, 23-24, that money has been cut drastically. In fact, for things like the Innovation Fund, which is the money that we use to fund most of these projects that we give to innovators, that they apply and we give them for those young people who are starting, that money was completely removed.
Development at the 100-acre seated plant is gradually assuming shape with different units at intermediate stages of completion. The current developments have so far attracted small-scale production influenced by limited funds to efficiency, although a bigger African market still remains in sight.
This building, because it covers a number of functions, we call it the production facility. And that is the building you see across. It's about 7.5 acres of space. And in this space, we have 4 core functions: body manufacturing, then we have protection, coating of the body and frame, and painting. Then we have chassis systems integration, and then we have the portion where we have warehousing. So those are the functions which are in this facility.
We should first of all expect to see our own vehicles on the road. And I think every Ugandan feels very proud when you see nice, beautiful buses moving. However, we are also going to begin to see other cars, pickups, and we're going to begin to see other SUVs. In our strategy is we would like to, after we've stabilized the bus on the market, we want these government vehicles to be made here.
As the domestic automobile market adjusts to international dynamics, such as the energy shift and integration, implementation of the shift hasn't been straightforward. According to local private enterprise, Tobico, technology transfer, healthcare research, and market access remain bigger challenges. This, however, remains a clearly anticipated trial for players in the evolving market, as government as well still grapples with almost similar tests.
We are in this industry of electrical vehicles. We have a lot of problems in this industry, as we are still on prototype. Some of the vehicles, especially like this one of solar powered vehicle. Then we have another type of vehicle where that we can convert these normal vehicles, the one we have already in the system. Also, we can work on these hybrid electrical vehicles. All those vehicles, as I'm saying, they are using batteries. This industry, that's why I say we still have a problem in this industry. The problem of battery technology is still a big problem. We have the issue of charging points, also that is a problem. And we have the accessibility of getting these equipment of EVs, also is another problem.
So what we are doing in Uganda is manufacturing buses. We start with steel bars and steel hollow sections. We start with sheets of paper, of iron, then we buy some from suppliers, we buy certain parts. We design the bus, we design the vehicle ourselves, and then make those parts. We order them, some of them we order them from outside the country and from within the country.
With improved funding to spur innovation and the country expecting realignment of public transport to cheap, decongested mass mobility, possibility of overhaul to the local transport industry seems likely in the long term. Ivan Tivenkana, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Nice.
Well, now, lastly, the judiciary has held the first high-level National Alternative Dispute Resolution Summit 2023, where the president was represented by the vice president, Major Jessica Alupo, that is the retired Major Jessica Alupo, and they assured justices that the cabinet is going to pass the National Alternative Dispute Policy that will enable the judiciary to settle case backlog and 8 trillion shillings stuck in the commercial bank because of the same backlog. Simon Kirmonda compiled this report.
The president was represented at the summit by the vice president, Jessica Alupo, promised that the cabinet will put the National Alternative Dispute Resolution Policy into place just as it did during colonial rule. This will allow the judiciary to resolve financial disputes that are costing the nation a lot of money.
The Africans had an elaborate way of handling disputes before colonial rule. Once the principles in the African jurisprudence was the preference for the truth. This is a departure from the current legal system, where a person hires a lawyer to cover his or her mistakes, to minimize the mistake and maximize innocence.
Furthermore, Norbert Mao, the Minister for Constitutional Issues, praised the cabinet for adopting the alternative dispute policy so fast in order to demand the release of funds for economic growth.
We need speed in the resolution of disputes. We have been informed by key players from the legal professionals, people who are in charge of real estate companies, those who own organizations that resolve disputes, that, Your Excellency, we have 8 trillion Uganda shillings tied up in commercial courts because of disputes.
Chief Justice of Uganda, Alfonso Owiny-Dolo, has called for a dispute mechanism for resolving all disputes of over 148 which were in land dispute and financial banking institutions, pouring the country into losses.
The fact that as we speak now, trillions, the Honourable Minister has told us 8 trillion. Trillions of Uganda shillings are locked up in the commercial division of the High Court alone, with a huge chunk of this arising from disputes that involve the banking and other financial institutions.
According to Ms. Sarah Arapata, chairperson of the Uganda Bankers Association, the RICS need to promote the national alternative dispute remedies with all relevant parties in order to benefit both the nation and the world, as well as the aid in giving assurances and be able to free up funds for investments.
The need for promoting alternative dispute resolution has numerous justifications and benefits, especially in this part of the world. since it not only supplements the existing judicial court system as a fast, co-efficient and less acrimonious alternative, but also assists in providing the much needed assurance and attractiveness of an investment destination if commercial disputes can be resolved in a timely manner to free up capital for further deployment in the economy.
Once the country adopts the National Alternative Dispute Resolution Frameworks and Policy, Uganda will reduce on the amount of money spent in hiring lawyers and handling land cases, financial institutions like banks and SACCOs. Andrew Barije, Samuel Chirimunda, Smart 24, Business Today.
All right, many thanks for that particular one, Andrew Barije and Samuel Chirimunda. We now head into our recap of our top stories as we sign out for our live broadcast tonight. In the headlines tonight, shake-up for Islamic banking. Government considers realigning facility with tax regime. And also, KFDA, CNOC intensifies drilling. $1.8 billion out of $7 billion sector contracts awarded to Ugandans. Elsewhere, unveiling Africa's industrial powerhouse, industrialization hinges upon collaborative efforts of various stakeholders. All right. That's it for Business Today. Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Wins and Akauchi for the sign language interpretation. And till tomorrow, we shall be getting back to give you more details in regards to your daily report of business stories. From Plot for the 2 Nile Avenue, the entire newsroom, editorial and production, it's a good evening and a good night.